everyone. This is Kim O'Neill from the Every Day is a New Day podcast and live show, and you're listening to the Going North podcast with the hilarious Dom Brightman. Be sure to subscribe to his show so you don't miss any episodes, and remember, every day is always a new day.
And today on a super special, awesome podcast for humans known as the Going North podcast, we got another wonderful human being that put pen to paper and then published that wonderful paper, or should I say multiple pages, into a fabulous book for folks to read, devour, and share with their friends, family, and kittens. That's right, even kittens, y'all, because we got one heck of a super special, awesome author for you today, folks. That's right, we got a California girl, y'all. That's right, she is a mompreneur all the way out from Cali who has a bachelor's of fine arts in communication. So that's right, folks, she knows how to communicate and connect, y'all. So that's right, she may even connect your router to your whole neighbor's Wi-Fi too, just for the fun of it. And she loves to inspire others who are struggling and tired of parents to appeal to their child's sense of empathy and desire to grow up. So she is a mompreneur that loves to help out fellow parentpreneurs. So let's give it up for the one, the only RL herself, Miss Radiant and lovely, soon to be legendary, Rebecca Linney. How you doing today, Rebecca?
I'm well. If you could just follow me around, or actually precede me everywhere and just introduce me, like when I walk into the grocery store or, the dentist, with that passion and excitement, that would be great. I'm doing well, Dom. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Doing well with the extra water. That's right. Probably have to walk around with a cowboy hat and some sunshades, and then have a boombox on my shoulder, just playing "I'm Every Woman Everywhere You Go."
I'll take it.
Oh man. But yeah, but as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 8 days long and 5 hours. Am I filling in any cavities I missed about you?
I think you hit on all the main points. I have an entrepreneurial background. I actually also have spent quite a lot in the corporate world, and I'm what I like to call now an accidental author. Never grew up wanting to be an author, was never on a bucket list of mine, but I won't say it fell into my lap, but I had enough support and friends chirping in my ears saying, you had this good idea, Rebecca, you need to do something with that. And that's where it all began.
There you go. Some friends discovering your awesomeness. That's right. Do you still have those same friends with you today?
I do. Because friends with good ideas you should keep around.
Amen to that. That's right. That's right. So you can mooch off of them. That's right. Get their autographs now and sell them back to them later for $20, y'all. I'm telling you. That's
Exactly.
right. That's right. So if Rebecca's friend is listening to this, I'm telling you, just giving you the idea. I'm telling you, get her autograph now, y'all. I'm telling you. Sell it back to her in like 10 years for like $20. It'll be perfect. Trust me. That's right. And then you can cash at me $25. It'll be even better. It'll work out perfectly. It's
Yeah.
foolproof. It's like fluffing a pillow. It's foolproof.
Nothing could go wrong. Nothing.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's freaking awesome. So having some good friends and you having all these good ideas, and they told you, hey, stop playing and actually put those ideas out there. So accidental authors. So book number one's a kid's book. So why a kid's book as your first book?
Well, again, I never grew up wanting to be an author. I didn't know I wanted to write something and put it out to the world. So what I did know I wanted to be was a wife and a mom, and I became both of those. And unfortunately, while my child is wonderful at many, many things, he is an awful sleeper. Well, I should say he was an awful sleeper. Did not sleep through the night till he was 4 years old. So I was tired for a very, very long time. So we as parents struggled with being tired for a long, long time, and all the things that accompany that. Not getting a good night's sleep means the next day you can't be the best. You can't be the best wife, you can't be the best friend, you can't be the best employee, or even the best mom, or the best version of anything if you don't have a good night's sleep. So we had that pain point in our family. And then my son had a pain point of being a little bit smaller than average. He's he's got friends that are younger than him that were able to do a lot of things that he couldn't do, like ride the roller coasters or go down the water slides and things like that. And he was struggling to understand why these younger kids could do this, but he couldn't. So that was his pain point. And, in the business world, they're always like, well, you've got to find a solution for a pain point, and that's how you'll make it, quote unquote, right? So, probably in a completely sleep deprived state, I said to my son, well, when you come to bed with mommy and daddy, you're in the wrong bed. When mom and dad go to bed, we're resting, we're recharging, we're relaxing because we're done growing. When you go to bed in your bed, you're supposed to be growing. So you're in the wrong bed. You need to be in the growing bed. And it was like this light bulb that went off for him that showed him, okay, if I do X, then I can get Y. Meaning if I sleep in my growing bed, I can get bigger. And I won't say it transformed our family overnight, but it was pretty close to that. And it was just the one concept that stuck with them. And we had tried everything. I mean, everything. And after a few years, I had enough friends and family saying, that's a good idea. And they used it on their kids and stuff. And, fast forward a few years later, and I've got this pretty cute little book here in my hand. And now other families are able to kind of learn from the growing bed and hopefully get some more sleep. So that's the story of how the book became.
Oh yeah. That's right. Growing up to be wanting to be a wife and a mom. That's right. And it's like, oh crap. This is the mom part that I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
Keeps waking me up. Oh crap. Me and hubby can't get no rest. No. No. Oh, wait a second. Hey, there we go. There's the meal ticket. Light bulb moment. You want to grow up and be as tall as your buddies, maybe even taller than your buddies. You want to get in the growing bed, buddy. Like that's freaking awesome. It's kind of speak to that whole classic pain or pleasure thing. It's like we either do things to really get more pleasure out of life or to avoid pain. And he's like, hey, let me avoid the pain of being smaller than these kids that are younger than me. So it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like I said, we had tried so many things in our family. If there's a reason sleep deprivation is a method of torture. Because if you had told me, Rebecca, just bathe your child in a pool of jello and he will sleep through the night, I would have said, what color? What color? What flavor? I'm in. How many packets? Like, I'll do it now. And so many families struggle with sleep at some point. Even the best sleepers regress at times. They get a new sibling or they are breaking a new tooth or something like that. Every child, from what I've been told, because I've only had one, every child struggles with sleep at some point. And when the child struggles with sleep, the parents struggle with sleep. So if this is just one more tool I can help add to parents' tool belt to address that, then it's a good thing. It's been worth it then.
That's right. The Martha Stewart gospel, y'all. It's a good thing, y'all. That's right.
Do I owe her money now for saying that? It's a good thing.
Not to
Sorry,
my
Mark.
knowledge. She'll be all right. She's got a lot of money already. She'll be all right.
She can call me.
Oh yeah. If she does come with a book called Martha Stewart Gospel, I'll come after her for royalties though. So that's a whole other thing. But hey, it's not about her, it's about you and this fabulous book and you in general as a mompreneur. So my goodness. So with that actually working, like how was the process like for that since the first night it seemed to work? Was it like multiple nights that it seemed to work in like succession that led to you just keep going with it to publishing a book about it?
Well, again, it wasn't an overnight change in his sleeping habits, but it was definitely progressive. We always saw the most change in his sleeping behavior after the weekends, because he's had more time to interact with other kids his age and be around the monkey bars or the water slides. Or I remember when he wanted to transfer from like a little kid booster seat to a big booster seat that didn't have, that 5-point harness on it. And so the more he interacted with his buddies and saw what they were doing, his buddies that are granted younger than him, but bigger than him, it just really, he just started to spend more and more time progressively in his own bed, which was where we were going with that.
So with it not being an overnight success and you being able to actually basically, well, the power of being around other kids and the classic keep up with the Joneses kid edition. Like how was the process for both you and your husband with that with everything like that? Because I'm pretty sure some things had to change and adjust and you're happy to see some of the changes as they're starting to become more concrete for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I don't want to throw my son under the bus entirely. He is great at so many things that other little kids were not. Like, he was great getting his hair cut. He was great taking medicine. He was great getting his shots at the doctors. He was great at so many other things that a lot of other kids really struggle with, but sleep was not one of them. So little by little, he just started spending more and more time in his growing bed. And we even found a way to translate that to when we travel. For example, when we would go to a hotel if we were on vacation, we'd walk into the hotel room, there'd be two beds, and we would say to our son, okay, we'll pick which one of these two beds is the growing bed. And he would pick one or the other. And then that's the bed he slept in for that trip because that was the growing bed. So it was a way we could take an ordinary bed and kind of place some magic to it.
Ah, there we go. That's right. That's right indeed. So do you have any tree designs on occasion for the growing bed?
Any tree designs?
Yeah, like a tree blanket or maybe like a picture of a tree next to the growing bed. Just
Oh, I see. It's like any merch to go along with the book.
heck, maybe
I
that could be a merch idea. Get your
Yeah,
growing bed tree.
yeah. I'd love to partner with a mattress company. So if you or any of your listeners knows a mattress company where, if you buy a bed from X Mr. Mattress Guy, you get a copy of the growing bed. But haven't worked on any merch yet. Just having fun promoting the book and doing signings around town and meeting little kids and things like that. That's been really, really fun.
That's right, because Rebecca loves the kids, y'all. That's right, she loves the kids. That's what I'm talking about. Well, speaking of books, my goodness, with it being a children's book, there's so many things that folks may want to know. So, any two major tips that stick out for folks after you've published your book that you want to give advice to folks aspiring to publish a kid's book of their own?
Get a terrific illustrator that will be able to put their ego aside to actually listen to you. I found a wonderful man out of Michigan who had already done a children's book before, but a very different style. And I sent him the most rudimentary stick figures you've ever seen in your life. And he made magic out of them. And the very first time I gave him any feedback or not criticism, but hey, could you tweak this or could you tweak that? He said, boom, no problem. And the sooner you can get to that point with your illustrator, the better, because you need to know that they will listen to you and draw what you want. So that would be a big tip, is taking the time to find what's the phrase that they and interpret it quickly and perfectly.
That's what I'm talking about. Indeed, yes, indeed. Because illustrations are definitely integral to a successful children's book. You don't want to see stick figures like the growing bed. You don't want to see like a random sandwich and the kids like a stick figure child sleeping on a hamburger bun. Like you don't want to see that.
And that's what mine was. My growing bed was a rectangle, and I would use the same rectangle in all the illustrations. It was awful, but fortunately, Charlie Lavoie, my illustrator, made a beautiful bed for me out of a rectangle.
Ah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, what's next for you? Is it gonna be like a whole series of children's books, or is it gonna be you jumping into nonfiction, or maybe jumping on one of those multi-author projects? Like, is there a future book in waiting to come out of you?
I don't know. I'm really enjoying the process and the build up to this book and now marketing it and spreading the word about this book. I never anticipated that question. Again, didn't set out to be an author. Turns out I am. but I never anticipated that. So what's next, Rebecca? But you know how when you're dating, everyone starts saying, when are you getting married? And then you get married, and then I'm like, well, when are you going to have a baby? And then you have a baby. Well, when are you going to have another baby? Well, it turns out when you write a book, everyone just starts saying, well, when's the next book? I'm like, give me 5 minutes with this one. But if if someone put a gun to my head and said, okay, you have to write another book, what's it going to be? I do have some ideas floating around up there, but I'm really content and happy right now, just nurturing this one right now. It's my first book baby, right? So I don't want to lose any of the first steps or first words.
No, I get you. I get you. I'll say with my book is it's not even been a year yet. It's only been like at the time of this recording, like what, 3, 4 months has been out since around what, March, February?
But now that you've been through it, if someone said, John, you have to write another book, what's it going to be? Do you have something, don't you? You probably have something tinkering around in your head.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep,
You're
it's
like, oh
yep,
boy.
yep. It's yeah. Yeah, definitely with the first book. Yeah, definitely. Second one, yep. We'll see what happens with the other books in the future.
Sure.
Yeah. Especially one that's going to be way out of the, well, I wouldn't say way out of the ballpark for me, but way out of the ballpark for some folks who probably read past stuff. It's like, oh, you're a nonfiction guy. You're going into fiction? Okay, interesting.
Oh, I think that would be a wonderful transition to see one person's brain and mind work differently. I think that would be fascinating.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, indeed. That's right. It could be going from nonfiction self help all the way to a billionaire vampire romance. That's right.
Crazier things have happened.
That's right. The main character was a Highlander, then a vampire bit him for some strange reason. That's right. So on the cover is a Count Chocula head, but a Highlander body.
Got a lot of mixed messages going there, but you know what? There's an audience for that somewhere. I promise. I promise.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Maybe you can help me write it. That's right. Tag team author project.
Yeah, Lord knows I
Speculative
won't be
fiction.
helping you illustrate it. That will not. Mm.
Oh, God. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. So my goodness, so gotta love it. Like helping the little one finally find his growing bed to get that tree swag in his life to grow up to be a big, strong young man eventually. That's right. Since the teenager years haven't arrived yet.
Yeah, soon he won't. Soon we won't be able to get him out of bed. That's what everyone tells us. I'm like, I'm willing to risk that. Right now, I'm okay. I'm willing to risk. Mm.
It's so true. It's like, oh God, oh, they're sleeping. All right, good. All right,
Mm,
they better enjoy that nap time because they're gonna want it when they age.
tell me about it. Now I'm the one who needs the nap.
That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, so with those wonderful lessons learned for others to share, is there any other lessons that you may have picked up through the entire process of the book, not just with the illustrations or the writings, maybe the idea phase, or may have been something else that may have stuck out to you?
I think, like with most things in life, especially given our last 18 months and what's been happening in the world, just to always give yourself more time than you initially think things will take, especially the more hands there are in the cookie jar. I just had myself and the illustrator, mainly the two people being responsible for the book. But then once it got to editing, then there's one more set of hands. When it got to the interior layout designer, there's another set of hands. So the more people who get involved, the longer things take. And I wasn't ready for that. I'm very much like things to run like a tight ship. So just kind of giving yourself more grace and leniency on the time schedule, I think, was a lesson someone may have should have helped me out with. Or may have tried to, maybe I just didn't take their word for it. But that was probably one of the bigger lessons I learned along the way. And if and when I do this again, would remember straight out of the gate.
That's right. Miss Rebecca Fierce here. That's right. She's like, all right, don't get too many people involved. It'll go too slow.
So that's how I am in my life. I'm very much type A. I like to be in charge of things. It's not always my best quality. I understand that, but I just would rather run with something on my own, and I'm fine with my name being on it at the end of the day, whether it sinks or swims, but at least it goes in a straight line and it goes quickly. So not so much the case when you're writing a book with other people.
Yeah, that's right. Unless it's on the Titanic. Your name's not on that one. I don't think anyone's name would want to be on that one.
No, no.
No, we ain't calling that one. No. Let's go with the swimming part, not the sinking. No, not the sinking. Oh man. Well, since you've been on this trail of interviews promoting the fabulous book and marketing it and getting some more experience on behind the mic, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on these podcasts?
Oh, that's a good question. A question I wish I was asked more often. I think it would be nice because I always kind of want to share the story, but I don't want to just sit back and talk about myself. I think it would be interesting to be asked if my son knows that the book is about him and how he reacted to it. Um, so, do you want to pretend like I didn't just say that? You want to ask me that question?
Oh, of course. Yeah. So what do you think he's gonna say about it? Do you think he'll be like, "Hey, that kid looks familiar"? Wait, actually, have you been shown him the book yet?
He has seen the book, so I got the very first hard copy in the mail. They print one, and then once you give it the final green light, then they print the rest. So it comes in and still so surreal, but it comes in and my son sits down at the couch and he flips it open and he reads it, and I'm of course a puddle of tears behind him going, oh my gosh, my son's reading a book that I wrote about him and now he's reading it, and it's like the circle of life. And at the very end he says, this book's about me, isn't it, Mom? And I'm like, damn straight it's about you. And if I weren't so tired for so long, I would have never had to write this book. So it's like, thank you, but I don't know. So yes, he does know it's about him. Yes. In fact, on the front dedication page, or on the dedication page, it mentions his name and my husband's name. So yeah, he does know it's about him.
uh, that's right. So that's right. It ain't just Santa Claus, y'all. Mommy's watching. That's right. That's right. That's right. Because mommy cares, y'all. That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's freaking hilarious. But that's good though. I'm glad you're upfront with him about it, and he seemed to be in the middle about it. So that's cool. That's
Mm,
cool. At least you got his reaction from it. We'll see how things go as he ages. Indeed. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you might be on the lookout? It's like, well, I wonder if mom's gonna write another book about it.
Well, you'd like to think that if he thought like, well, if I screw this up for a long time, that's to be my mom's next book, right? But he's a good kid. So right now, I wouldn't have anything to really write about as far as correcting his behavior. But the book is in his school's library, so he does think that's kind of cool that his last name is in the card catalog, which is kind of cute.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, since you're a busy mom and a mompreneur, my goodness, so what is a normal day like for Rebecca? Like, what's your morning to night routine? Like, do you have a stronger morning routine or a stronger night routine for the
I
fellow
have
mompreneurs out there?
yeah, I have a stronger morning routine, I think, but I think the beauty of working for myself is that I have no routine, and that is routine, and I'm fine with that. Meaning every day is so different. The very few con- um, continuous things are, we wake up somewhat as a family, we have breakfast as a family, and then depending on the day's activities, either my husband or I will take our son to school, and then either my husband and I or I will pick him up from school, and then what happens in the middle is it could be 100 million things, and I like that. That's how our family works, and we take comfort in knowing that every day is a little bit different. I think we would kind of go stir crazy if it was always the same. But I know some people can't imagine that life. Like, how do you not know what you're doing from 8 to 10 and 10 to 12 and 12 to 2 and 2 to 4? How do you not know that? And I'm like, well, I know I'm doing stuff. That's about it. Like, that's all the detail I need, you know? I try to throw in a workout a couple times a week. I try to throw in tennis a couple times a week. I try and throw in a lunch date with my husband once a week, things like that. So um, our routine is somewhat anti-routine, but that's just how we've always. That's when you work for yourself and you have your hands in a lot of different cookie jars and irons and lots of fires. That's how you operate, and it works for some people and it doesn't work for others, but it works really well for our family, and it is part of the reason I had the freedom and the flexibility to write a book. You know, if I was working a traditional 9 to 5, that book's only going to get written from like 8:30 p.m. till I crash after the kids have gone to sleep, you know. So um, it's kind of all worked itself out together in a beautiful mess kind of way.
Ah, beautiful mess indeed. That's right.
Mhm.
That's right, Dave. Beautiful mess, Dave. But hey, sounds like something is working because you're able to schedule some on Dave with the hubby, which is great. Kids still getting attention and able to be constructive with your time, which is freaking fabulous, which is
Mhm.
interesting and what other folks need to know about because everybody wants to try to be as productive as they can, especially if they're
Mhm.
in the same boat as you with lovely children in the house, especially young ones that are full of energy. And you're like,
Yeah,
oh, God, wow, you have a boatload of energy. I probably only have half a boatload.
yeah, yeah. They hit the ground running, don't they?
Oh, yeah. They can be fast too, which is really surprising. It's like, wow, those darn little legs. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Sweet. So, of course, I've been throwing at entrepreneurs up here on the podcast recently, thanks to Mr. Simon T. Bailey, is what's probably been the biggest failure that you've had in your life that's taught you probably the most valuable lesson?
Oh gosh, I had a business try to get off the ground about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a business we knew nothing about at all. And I think we just threw too much money into it too fast, and then had to end up paying for mistakes we made along the way, which obviously costs more money. So and we never really brought in an expert in that field. We just figured, well, we run other successful businesses, so we can run this business successfully, but we had no idea about that particular field. So I think that money that we, in hindsight, have wasted would have been much better spent on an executive or a consultant or something in that field who could have drawn a better blueprint for us, a better map, if you will, for us to follow. Because then that we may have spent the same amount of money, but I think we would have been much further along in the process at the end of that chunk of change. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it definitely makes sense. It seems like there's like a big theme with this whole conversation. It seems like, hey, like little Alex with the rest of the kids that are bigger size, and then you have that bright idea of, hey, you want to be in the growing bed instead of the not growing bed? Like, hey, this is the mommy and daddy bed. We don't grow here. We rest here. You want to be on the growing bed? All
Mhm.
the way to really getting an illustrator and helping other folks enlist you on that advanced path to publishing the book. And heck, even with that, bringing on a consultant or someone with more experience in the field to really give you that edge so that way you would have saved more money back then. So it seems like the theme is make sure that you get around the right people that can help you do the right thing, and that way you can advance further than you probably would by yourself.
Yeah, I think because I we assume that our success in one business or two businesses or three businesses would translate into success into a fourth business, but there because we went in such a different direction from the other businesses, it did not. Now, what did translate were good management skills, good communication, good this, good that, but that wasn't enough. You know, we really needed someone who had gotten their hands dirty in that industry um, much sooner along in the process than we did. So sometimes it's fine to stay in your own lane, but if you got to get out of your lane, you need someone who's been in that lane before.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's right. That's a gem right there. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's a gem, y'all. That's right. She took one off her necklace and gave it to you, listener. That's right. That's right.
Doing my part.
Oh. That's right. It's a good part indeed. It's a good part indeed. Heck, even another fun on the bun question for you with the wonderful theme of entrepreneurship, success, and failure. If you were to bake a success cake and you had to put some ingredients to make the cake together to be a successful success cake, what would be in that success cake, metaphorically speaking?
Metaphorically speaking, tenacity and not taking things personally, which is hard to do as a woman, more so probably as a man, I would assume. I've never been a man, but I would assume that
Woohoo!
for women, it's a bit harder to separate that at times. Um, but definitely tenacity and knowing that you're gonna hear more no's than yeses, which is so hokey and is so overplayed, but it's so true. So that's why it's said all the time. But I would think those would be two or three of the top ingredients. So those are the ones I'd spend time and money on. The rest you can get the cheap olive oil, you can get the cheap salt, right? The cream and the sugar, you gotta get the good stuff.
There you have it, folks. That's right. For the mompreneur himself. That's right. That's right. So, advice for the fellow mompreneurs who may be listening, y'all. Get that tenacity. That's right. That's right. Beck's giving you that advice, y'all. Be tenacious, y'all. Don't be scared. That's right. Don't care what the other folks think about you. That's right. That's right, indeed. Because I'm pretty sure she's done it herself in her lifetime. That's why she made it to this show and many others, y'all.
Mhm.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2021, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Don't get a Facebook page. Um, and don't waste so much time on Instagram, which is a bit funny because, that's how we also reach a market. But it would be to not change how quickly I bring people in. Sometimes, very seldomly, but a couple times since I've been 25, I've brought friends, business people, boyfriends when I was growing up into my life hard and fast, and very seldom did that burn me in the end, but more often than not, it was a good thing. And you got to love quickly and fiercely and deeply. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if that's the kind of person you are, then you just roll with it. Just go for it. Nothing wrong with being vulnerable.
There we go. Think you're the first one to say don't have a Facebook page.
Which is probably kind of ironic because you'll probably post this on Facebook, but no, you've seen those memes where it's like, oh my gosh, those of us who grew up in the 80s and the 90s are so lucky that stuff didn't exist, that social media didn't exist. No one would be able to run for position, but I say it tongue in cheek, but it's also such a time consumer.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right, indeed. You can definitely say that again. It's like, oh, shoot, we're safe. All right, good. All right, they won't know about that random knife with the motorcycle and the random penguin and the unicorn. They won't know about it at all. It's good. That's good indeed. That's good indeed. Well, for those who want to keep in magical contact with the radiant and future legendary Rebecca Linney, what's the best way for folks to do so?
I would love for you to pop on over to Instagram at the growing bed.
Woo! Well, there you have it, folks. That's right. Head over to the IGs, y'all. Like some pages, buy some copies of the book for your kids. That's right. If you have a pet goldfish, buy for them too, so that way they can find a growing bed, so they can grow up to be big, shiny goldfish, and not end up as a snack food, y'all. I'm telling you, that's right. They need that growing bed, y'all. That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, any parting words before we close up shop, Rebecca?
I would just like to let all the sleepy parents know that if the growing bed works for you, I am thrilled. And if it doesn't, just keep trying to find what works for your kid because something will work, something will click. Don't give up hope because they'll go to bed eventually, right?
How's it going, my friend? I'm so glad you made it to the end. That shows that you are an uncommon finisher, and I am so grateful for you sharing your ears, your attention, and your time to this wonderful podcast to do something that'll take yourself to the next level. And for everybody else involved in this wonderful program, share it with at least 3 people in your network so that way more folks can not only catch the fire that is on this podcast, but can also be inspired to be their best.